Someone like you couldn't possibly work from home. Low education is just the worst.
Julie relentlessly spewed words that tore down my character. She doesn't even know that the $1,500 we send her every month comes from my earnings. And yet, she has the nerve to humiliate me like this in front of others. I've had enough. It's time to show her what I'm capable of. I'm Sarah, 35 years old. I've been married for 5 years, and my husband and I are a childless couple who both work. We're both busy with our jobs, and after discussing it together, we decided to wait until things settled down before having kids. My husband, Daniel, works long hours at an office job, while I work from home with a more flexible schedule. Nowadays, working from home isn't unusual, but Daniel's mother, Julie, who lives in a close-knit rural community, doesn't understand the concept of remote work. No matter how many times I explain that there are plenty of people who work from home these days, she just doesn't get it. Julie thinks I'm a lazy bum living off Daniel's paycheck without contributing or having children. We send Julie $1,500 every month, but she assumes all of it comes from Daniel's income. There's no way we could manage a $1,500 monthly allowance solely on Daniel's salary. Julie often brags about how she graduated from college and worked as a nurse, and she always uses it as an opportunity to look down on me, since I only have a high school diploma.
Look at you, an uneducated, lazy wife. Daniel really drew the short straw marrying you. Back in my day, I worked hard as a nurse, handled housework, raised kids, and supported my husband, Kevin. These days, dual-income households are the norm. You don't have kids, you neglect housework, and you laze around every day. Must be nice.
Julie, I've told you countless times that I do work. These days, as long as you have a computer and internet, there are plenty of jobs you can do from anywhere.
Someone like you couldn't possibly work on a computer. Low education equals low capability, after all.
She makes these kinds of personal attacks whenever Daniel or Kevin isn't around to hear them. Even though it's a rural area where it takes 15 minutes on foot to get to the nearest grocery store, but our house was only a 3-minute walk from Julie's. Even if I wanted to keep my distance, it's physically impossible. She calls me every day, demanding I come over, only to dump her household chores on me. If I ignore her calls, she barges into my home uninvited, snoops around the house, and complains about everything she finds. And so today, once again, I have no choice but to head over to her place. It's pouring rain today, making my steps feel even heavier than usual. The moment I arrive at Julie's house, she starts barking orders.
Today, I need you to organize the storage room and take the bedding to the laundromat. Once you're done with that, cook dinner. Since you're just a lazy bum anyway, you might as well be useful for once.
I couldn't hold back and snapped back at her. It's pouring rain out there. Cleaning the storage room and washing bedding can wait for a sunny day. I'm swamped with work today, so I'll just cook dinner and head back home.
Work, please. I peeked into your house the other day, and you were just playing on your computer.
Wait, you spied on my house.
It's Daniel's house, so is his mother. I have every right to look. Now hurry up and get started. I'm meeting some friends from my nursing days for lunch. I'll be back by evening, so make sure everything's done by then.
Julie climbed cheerfully into her freshly washed, gleaming car. It was my car.
Someone like you who never leaves the house doesn't need a car. I'll put it to good use.
She declared, acting as though it was hers. Of course, I was the one who had washed it. Knowing it would rain today, I deliberately washed it yesterday. But as soon as Julie started driving, she sped right into a puddle in front of the house, splashing water everywhere and ruining all my efforts in seconds. Julie's husband, Kevin, retired once, but is now working again on a rehire basis, so there's no one to stop her bad behavior during the day. I've thought about confronting Julie, but if I did, she might start harassing me, verbally abusing me, or spreading false rumors about me to the neighbors. I've wanted to talk to Daniel about it many times, but he's always exhausted from his demanding job, and I didn't want to burden him with more worries. In the pouring rain, I cleaned the storage room and took the bedding to the laundromat. Once that was done, I continued cooking dinner, still in my wet clothes and with damp hair. Julie had told me to prepare at least 5 dishes plus soup, so I shivered in the cold as I worked. Since Julie doesn't allow the use of heating while she's out, I was chilled to the bone. By the time I finished everything, it was already past 3 p.m. I tried to leave before Julie returned, but my timing was off, and she came back just as I was about to go.
Well, look at you soaking wet.
Julie smirked as she took in my miserable state. Then she turned her attention to the food I had laid out on the table.
Did you cook all this while dressed like that? How disgusting. There's no way I'm eating this.
With that, she threw all the food into the trash. I was stunned by her behavior, but she wasn't done.
Food made by someone looking like that is revolting. Lazy bums like you don't even bother to take care of their appearance. Now clean the dishes and get out. I'll just order delivery tonight.
With those words, Julie retreated to her room. As I washed the dishes, tears streamed down my face, a mix of sadness and frustration at seeing all my hard work go to waste. One day, after many similar incidents, I found out there was going to be a neighborhood meeting at Julie's house, and of course, the preparations fell to me. While I was busy in the kitchen, rushing to prepare food and drinks, Daniel offered to help, but Julie quickly intervened.
It's your day off, Daniel. You should just sit and relax.
She grabbed his hand and pulled him away from me. Then, after returning to the kitchen, she leaned in close to whisper in my ear.
Someone as clueless as you doesn't belong at the table with us. If you embarrass yourself, Daniel and I will be humiliated.
I brushed off Julie's harassment, silently continued cooking, and stayed hidden in the kitchen. It seemed like both the neighborhood association members and Julie had gotten quite tipsy. From the living room, I could hear Julie's cheerful laughter echoing. Daniel and Kevin, who love kids, were playing with the neighborhood children in the yard. When I went to the living room to clear the empty plates, the head of the neighborhood association, John, spoke to me.
Why don't you sit down and have something to eat?
I couldn't exactly tell him that Julie had forbidden me from eating with everyone, so I forced a polite smile and replied, "Thank you." Feeling grateful that someone cared enough to notice, I was gathering the empty plates when I accidentally knocked over John's glass. The glass, filled to the brim with alcohol, spilled all over his clothes. "I'm so sorry." John laughed and forgave me. Julie, who didn't bother to move from her seat, watched my mistake with amusement. She continued to be the life of the party, happily mocking me and bragging about herself.
I'm so sorry for all the trouble. She's such an ungrateful daughter-in-law. She spends all day playing on the computer, doesn't do housework, doesn't work, and just stays cooped up in the house. The place is such a mess that I have to come over every day to help her manage her life. She even threw away the food I made. I guess it just didn't suit the younger generation's taste. And the other day, she made me take the bedding to the laundromat in the rain. It was such a hassle. The bedding got wet, and she yelled at me like crazy. I thought she was going to hit me, but compared to her, Daniel is such a wonderful, dutiful son who sends me money every month.
Fueled by alcohol, Julie's voice boomed across the room as she spewed lie after lie. Hearing her baseless accusations and self-pity, a surge of anger began to rise within me. I had finally reached my limit. I might have been able to tolerate her harassment toward me, but I couldn't forgive her for spreading lies to the neighbors and trying to paint herself as the tragic heroine. There's no way I'm letting her get away with this any longer. Julie, who exactly are you talking about? Everything you just said is what you've been doing to me, isn't it?
What are you saying? I'd never do such a thing.
Her eyes widened in surprise, clearly not expecting me to talk back. Every day, you claim you're going out with your nursing friends. But when have you ever helped with the housework at my place?
That's ridiculous. I'm too busy with housework to have time for that.
Julie, I know the truth. I know you've been meeting a man outside. At my sudden accusation, Julie was visibly shaken.
What nonsense are you spouting?
She tried to deny it calmly, but her trembling voice betrayed her. The commotion caught Daniel and Kevin's attention, and they returned from playing with the kids in the yard. This was my chance to finally confront her. As curious eyes turned toward us, I decided to stand my ground and fight back.
Mom, what's going on? Why are you yelling?
A flustered Daniel asked, but Julie quickly replied,
Sarah is being awful. She's accusing me of meeting a man outside without any proof.
She looked at Daniel with pleading eyes. Everyone's attention shifted to me. Seizing the moment, I revealed the evidence. I have proof, Julie. My car's dash cam recorded audio of you flirting with a young man.
A dash cam? What's that?
Didn't you know? Dash cams record audio inside the car. I found out about it during the car inspection. I have the data right here. Should I play it for everyone?
You think anyone would believe a lazy bum like you who's living off Daniel's paycheck?
Don't you dare talk to Sarah like that.
Kevin, visibly angry, stepped in and interrupted the argument between Julie and me. But Julie wasn't about to back down.
Well, it's true, isn't it? Sarah just stays at home, wasting time on her computer, doing absolutely nothing.
She shouted, but as she noticed the cold stares from the people around her, her face turned pale.
Now that you mention it, I've often seen Sarah going to Julie's house. She might really be getting forced to do housework.
I've also noticed Julie frequently taking the car out. Is what Sarah's saying true? That Julie's been meeting a man outside?
Whispers could be heard coming from all around.
That's nonsense. Don't believe a word this lazy bum says.
Julie desperately tried to defend herself, but Daniel sighed and said to her,
Mom, Sarah isn't a bum. She's a designer, and she earns way more than I do.
What are you talking about? That's impossible. She just spends all day playing on her computer.
Julie was in a panic. Yes, I'm a designer. I worked at a design firm for a few years after graduating, then decided to go freelance when I got married. At first, it was just a small side income, but recently, I've been fortunate with clients and now earn far more than I did while working for a company. When Julie asked me about my job, I thought she wouldn't understand if I said designer, so I explained it as doing illustrations and similar work. That might have been a mistake, but since she has no concept of remote work to begin with, it couldn't be helped. Still, I never imagined she would treat me this terribly. Well, at this point, it doesn't matter anymore. I have no intention of trying to make Julie understand my work.
By the way, the $1,500 we send you every month, that comes from Sarah's earnings.
Kevin let out a shocked gasp at that revelation.
What? $1,500? I didn't know about this monthly allowance.
Wait a second, Mom. Were you spending that money without telling Dad?
No, the money. Oh, right. I've been donating it to help people in need.
Julie's excuses had become completely incoherent. Come on, Julie. That money's been going to your boyfriend, hasn't it? We've got the recordings to prove it. As I said this, Julie glared at me with a terrifying look. But behind her, Kevin's expression was even more frightening, his anger burning visibly.
So not only have you been belittling Sarah, but you've also been cheating on me and making a fool out of me?
No, it's not true. Sarah is lying. I've never cheated. Please believe me.
Julie clung to Kevin's leg, crying and screaming.
We'll see about that after we hear this so-called recording. Sarah, could you play it for us now?
Stop. Please don't play it.
Julie was almost hysterical.
Quiet. What are you so afraid of us hearing?
After Kevin's sharp rebuke, Julie finally seemed to resign herself and fell silent. I solemnly placed my phone on the table and pressed the play button. The recording clearly captured the young man's and Julie's sweet voices. She gave the man the money, begging for it, and her excited voice could be clearly heard as they headed for the hotel. Daniel looked nauseated, and the neighbors, while visibly uncomfortable, couldn't hide their curiosity as their eyes lit up with interest. It was nothing short of a living nightmare. Amidst the chaos, I nodded with a serious expression, though inside, I was fist-pumping with satisfaction at finally exposing Julie's wrongdoing for everyone to see. Before the recording could play to the end, Kevin instructed me to stop it, and I pressed the pause button. He then spoke calmly.
Apologize to Sarah. Then leave. I don't ever want to see your face again.
In the end, Julie left without apologizing to anyone, glaring at me as she went.
Sarah, I'm so sorry. This happened because I was so caught up in work.
Kevin apologized sincerely, though he had nothing to apologize for. Julie had been meticulous in her harassment, ensuring no one else would notice. If I hadn't spoken up, it would have been impossible for him to know. You've done nothing wrong, Kevin. I think of you as my real father, I said, placing a hand on his shoulder.
Thank you. I'll take care of everything from here. I won't let her have her way anymore. And to everyone here, I deeply apologize.
With that, Kevin followed Julie out the door. The neighbors who had witnessed the ordeal looked relieved that the drama had finally come to an end. They poured me a drink and offered words of comfort. I shared everything that had happened without holding back, and I ended up having a surprisingly enjoyable time with them. A few months later, Kevin and Julie ended up getting divorced. Julie's affair was with a young man who worked at a nightclub, and having fallen for his sweet talk, she not only spent the $1,500 monthly allowance I provided, but also dipped into the savings she had set aside for her retirement. Julie, with nowhere else to go, now lives in a cheap apartment in a neighboring state. She works part-time at a convenience store while struggling to pay alimony to Kevin and repay the savings she squandered. But why is she working part-time at a convenience store? If she was a nurse, she could probably work at a hospital. I asked Kevin.
She said she was a nurse. She just worked at a store that hospital staff would shop at. She's always been someone who exaggerates and tries to keep up appearances.
Kevin sighed. As for me, I'm now living comfortably, free from anyone interfering with my work or pushing unfair housework onto me. Every 3 days, I go to Kevin's house to help with housework, and he always shows his gratitude. Daniel's workload has significantly eased, and just as he was freed from the grind, we found out that I'm pregnant. Both Daniel and Kevin, along with our neighbors, have been incredibly supportive, helping out and looking after me during this time. Being able to leave the past behind and feel this way now is thanks to the happiness and fulfillment I found in my current life. From now on, I want to cherish our unborn child, Daniel, Kevin, and the wonderful neighbors around us, and enjoy a peaceful and joyful life together.